So today's my last day here in New York City. I gotta be to Newark Liberty by 2. Certainly no later than 2:30. Anyway, I'm here in Brooklyn over by Atlantic Terminal, hoping to find an M3 set, but that's looking highly unlikely. So I'll just hope to see one over at Jamaica. Meanwhile, I also want to do something else back in Manhattan, back in the city as they call it. And it involves a certain bridge. Anyway, let's get this thing started already, shall we? Now, I myself have never been on the Atlantic Avenue branch before. Used to be called the Flatbush branch for Flatbush Avenue, which is like one of the main thoroughfares on Brooklyn. This is Nostrand Avenue. And a lot of transit VTubers have covered this better than I could. So I'm just gonna shut up here and wait until Jamaica, alright? Love the artwork on the platform, though. There goes a train to Long Branch made up of M7s. And that looks like the train I was just on.
On track 3, that is a 12:31 train to Grand Central. Now arriving on track 3. Stopping at Grand Central only, now arriving on track 3.
That actually looks like an M9 set. It's got the right wrapping. So at least I got to ride that.
34, turn Woodside at Penn Station will be next on track 2. Woodside at Penn Station next on track 2.
This is the train to Grand Central. Stopping at Grand Central. Next station is Grand Central.
And again, I really need to work on my camera handling. But yeah, there's one of the upper concourses there. There's another one way back there. You can't really get at because it's not a good angle. I need to get back to the city quickly so I can do my little Simon and Garfunkel tribute. Again, it involves a certain bridge. There's the yard we were passing earlier on our way in from Atlantic Terminal. Just saw a yard switcher with the old two-tone blue M logo that was in use on the MTA until like the late 80s or early 90s. I will say this, they are consistent in doing fare checks. And I believe those are the J and Z train tracks coming out of the Archer Avenue subway. will be bypassing such stations as Forest Hills and Kew Gardens because this train doesn't stop at either of them. And to be fair, I did see an M3A set on Metro North, but it was a couple of tracks over, and I only caught it as I was ascending the stairs from my train coming back from Botanical Garden. I couldn't catch that at the time because, well, my phone battery had died. I think next time I expect to do any rail fanning, I'll bring my real camera, not my cell phone camera. There's a whole bunch of branches and stuff off of this line that many other YouTubers have talked about before in their own videos and who have covered it much better than I could hope to. So I'll just leave that to the experts. Something else you might be interested to know is that once upon a time they actually tested subway cars on these very tracks. Back in 1973, 72, it was about the time that the R44 subway cars were about to be introduced onto the system. And those things actually topped out at about like 65 to 75 miles per hour. Not that they ever get that speed in subway tunnels. Excuse me. Anyway, we're getting close to the city now, so in fact, I think we're going into the tunnels leading to Grand Central Terminal. So I think I'd better stop filming for now. Hello, lamppost. What you knowin'? I've come to watch your flowers growing. So wrote Paul Simon 60 years ago for the 59th Street Bridge song. To wit, that is the top of the 59th Street Bridge, now known as the Queensboro Bridge. Once upon a time, both elevated trains and trolleys ran over that. In fact, it was over the Queensboro Bridge that New York City's very last trolleys ran late in the 1950s. And if you ever needed proof, that's the head house to an old trolley terminal. Now, of course, we have the Roosevelt Island tram, which I'm not gonna have time to ride. Next time, I'm afraid. Yep, time to head on home. Back to Salt Lake City. See you later, everyone.